Porzingis is the one, right? I'm blown away. I didn't expect this from him. I had concerns about the fit. It's obviously a different team now than the one we kicked around originally, too, with Holiday coming in for Rob. I think that made a lot more sense when it comes to Porzingis and the big situation. But just the shot making and how much he draws attention off even the Jays just because of how big he is and how much of a threat he is, the moves he has, but really the defense. And that's one thing I did expect to be great, John, but it's been even better than I expected. He's so poised against the pick and roll in there. He creates so many deflections. Every shot he contests has pretty much turned into a miss, it feels like, save for a few tough shots against him so far. Again, the competition hasn't been great. You wish you could have seen him against Embiid. Robinson's okay for the Knicks, and Mark Williams is young and a little inexperienced here, so we'll see him against some of the better centers in the league. But I don't know, Josue. I just continue to be very impressed by him. Am I getting ahead of myself a little bit?
No, you're not. Because the reason why you're so impressed, just as I am, is because the Celtics haven't had a guy like this in a long time. You're right. Consistent score, can score from around the free throw line, mid-range, three-pointer. I mean, you name it. And it's like we've been saying ever since the trade happened. He's not asked to be the focal point of the offense, so he's comfortable. Obviously, he's in a great situation to compete for a championship. But yeah, no, I don't think you're overreacting here, because it's just you're seeing the benefits of the offense of having someone like that. And there's so many different options that they could do. You're kind of using him sort of like what Al used to be to the offense in a sense, but it's more like Jokic, right? Like you got that shot, you know?
Yeah, in terms of shot making, again, I'm still waiting for the passing to flash from him. Hasn't really yet, but maybe they don't need it to. Maybe he's just the kind of guy you throw it to and you want him shooting. I know that's always been Joe's approach to limiting turnovers, right? Is just shoot the damn ball. But it's impressive right now what they're doing, especially for a group that got together so recently, John. Like, they look like they're clicking pretty fast here, and that's going to be the key, because if anything was going to hold them back early, it'd be that little bit of disconnectivity we saw in that Knicks game. They turned the ball over a lot that night. Tonight was much more sharp, much more connected, especially for Holiday, who will continue to debate the starting lineup here. I think there's good arguments in both directions. But if he's looking this good and connected with the starters, there's a much better chance for him to start.
Again, I think the thing with Porzingis that we're catching up to a little bit, right, is that he just disappeared, like, from our consciousnness, right? He was there.
Deservedly so.
And deservedly so, both with injuries and just kind of, not great situations, but he just drifted, right? When he came on, I mean, they were talking about, he was legit considered like a top 5 NBA asset, and then just things went south. He kind of faded, and people just thought about him as like an also-ran, just not really someone that you mentioned in the upper echelon of NBA players. Then he kind of comes back last year, and then, at what point in the year did you notice the type of year he was having? It took me like most of the year to like look over and be like, holy crap, look at these numbers, he's really playing well. I think Brad's just sitting over there like salivating, like, yup, like, always wanted a guy like this. Oh my God, I want to get him.
And Danny was looking too.
And he did, but the problem is you're looking at, 50 games, 43 games, 57 games, 48 games. Just, it's a consistent, risk factor there. But the reality is the numbers are fairly consistent year over year. You weren't thinking about him in the same vein, but like his numbers are remarkably like the same. And then the entire run of his career, if you break him down, the only thing that's missing is the games played and being in a situation where people notice what he's doing, because he was in a couple of shit situations and nobody really cared.
Ever wish you could navigate the betting field with the confidence of a pro? Enter Odds Are. They're not a sports book, but they're the sports betting advisor you always needed. It's like having a playbook for smarter bets right in your pocket. I've been absolutely loving the experience, and I think you will too, especially since Celtics All Access listeners get a 30-day free trial. Elevate your game day and join the smart betting revolution. Go get it at oddsr.com/Celtics. That's oddsr.com/Celtics.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the initial situation he had in New York, that didn't help his reputation, I feel like, right? People kind of thought this guy's arrogant. This guy might be. He even said himself, like, I was ignorant back then. And I always pinpoint the fact that he walked out or he didn't attend his exit interview, which is like, for a rookie, that's unheard of. So, like, that didn't help his reputation, but his talent and you know, staying healthy was always a problem. So I feel like he was easy. You know, people just forgot about him. But you're seeing him in a great space right now. And I think the addition of Porzingis, the addition of Drew Holiday, you know, Tatum and Brown taking another step, what this year means to them, I think all that has to do with ESPN just saying, you know what, this is probably the year, or maybe they're assuming this is the year that Derek White goes back to being, you know, less of a factor. And I don't think that's true at all. Like, if you've been following this team the way we have, we know that he's easily been one of the, you know, better complementary pieces that Tatum and Brown have ever had. So we only see that getting better. We don't see that as like his role will be reduced or that he will be someone that gets less minutes. You know, he's in the mix. He's a starter. He's one of these, you know, top 6 starters that everyone's been saying. You know, we've all been saying all month.
Yep.
Yeah, the big factor is the health, and it's good to see that he can coexist with the other stars too, because we haven't really seen him do that either. But yeah, it's been interesting to hear him, Josue, talk about how he's just, I think, ignorant was the word he used.
Ignorant,
yeah. His career, yeah. So he didn't really care about anything, he said. And so the maturity, looking himself in the mirror too at aspects of the game where he struggled and improving them was good to see too.
Well, that was the thing. Remember we were having this conversation? I remember he was being floated as like a trade deadline, or like even like, you know, we threw his name out there before.
For the Kemba stuff, the Kemba dump.
But even still, right? But like last year or two, we floated him.
The way they got Al, you mean, right?
And even when we talked about him in the offseason, when they did get him, like, you know, I remember Jimmy saying, like, and we were all kind of talking about it, like, isn't he kind of a dink? You know, like, doesn't he have that reputation? You know, like, didn't he kind of, you know, and this and that? And the reality is, yeah. But he also acknowledged it and, you know, was like, yeah, I was dumb then. And he doesn't, if you didn't know anything about his past or about anything else and you just walked in and you met him, you'd be like, this guy is great. He's a great interview. He's thoughtful. He's honest. He's professional. He looks like he's here and he's ready to work. Like, there's nothing that you would think would constitute like diva baggage sort of stuff.
Maybe 2 years in Washington did it to him. He's like, holy crap, I just can't be the rest of my career.
I don't know exactly. I mean,
no, I don't think you're that far off. I can see him as being,
I mean, he was irrelevant there. Even
that's what I mean. And he, if you're him, you're not sure how long that's going to last, or if your next situation will be much better. You know, coming from the Dallas situation with Kyrie or with Luka, and people saying like, oh, this is never going to work, and that was a nightmare. Like, he had no idea what was next for in his career.
Yeah, because he effectively got dumped from Dallas for Spencer Dinwiddie and Davis Bertans.
He got dumped from New York. They just opted not to re-sign him, you know?
Well, no, they traded him to Dallas, but...
Yeah, but I mean, they wanted nothing. They didn't want him anymore, you know? Like, they're like, we're not...
They were shopping him around. They
didn't pick up his option, and they shopped him, right? Yeah. So, like, they were done. They were done. Yeah.
Yeah, and the injuries, that's still the thing, right? The injuries are still going to lurk with him, and he looks fresh and spry right now. I'm actually surprised how well he's moving, because one thing about the last couple of years here is looked a little more ground-bound, definitely less athletic and floating around for dunks and such. But that two-handed slam he put down in that Knicks game we were at, Josue, was something. He got way up there. He looks like he's in great shape, you know, and even he continues to say he's still working his way into mid-season shape after the injury over the summer. You really haven't seen the effects of the injury either. You know, I still see him wearing a little something on his foot, and you know, that thing might pop up here or there where they have to rest him and manage him. But so far, so good, and that's the thing. Are you equipped to lose him potentially for a stretch?
The CLNS Media Network is powered by FanDuel. Sign up at FanDuel.com/Boston. And get in on the action with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. When you place a $5 bet, that's $200 in bonus bets, win or lose.
So far, so good, and that's the thing. Are you equipped to lose him potentially for a stretch? certainly.
No one is equipped to lose good players. That's the whole point. And
Yeah.
you watch any team lose one of their better players, and it throws them completely out of whack. Phoenix loses Booker for 20, 30 games last year. Denver plays a whole season without Murray. And then next year you get them, you're a championship team. The difference between being a championship team and not is having all of your stars healthy. Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, one of these guys go out, you're not the same team anymore.
Yeah.
No one can withstand an injury to a star. No one.
But if a guy's injured every year,
I know,
you
but
can't
that's
reach the end of the year and be
you're
like,
rolling the
oh,
dice
he's
and you're
out.
hoping you enter the playoffs with it. But I mean, geez, Celtics might have still been playing in the finals. Jason Tatum doesn't roll a freaking ankle. I hate making excuses, but it means a lot. You can't play without your best players at that level against the other best teams, except if you're Miami, and apparently you don't need anybody but Jimmy Butler to win.
I can't wait to see them next Friday, see how they're looking. But
yeah,
this guy's going to make a big difference. There's no doubt about it. The trade looks great in retrospect so far. Even the contract, if this is the level he's going to look at, looks like a no-brainer here. But it's early. We'll see him against some of the bruisers. We'll see what the lineups look and how they work out for him. But so far, the shot making, rebounding certainly, and the defense especially, the biggest impact areas for him.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Now, I do want to get into what's so funny is we spend how many shows, Josue, barking at Bobby for starting the Cornet talk too early.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Stop it, Bobby. It's too
Right.
early to talk about Cornet. But in this show, the chat has been begging us to talk about Cornet and Kada and what's going on there. And Bobby has already teased your super hot Cornet take, which I'm curious. You have a theory. You have a Cornet theory. We're gonna get to that in a. Do you know what I'm talking about? Because you're looking at me
I hope you remember, Josue.
You're looking at me like, is that not ready for TV? Did you just out somebody again, Bobby? That's what you
No,
do,
he
huh?
already put it on MSG, but it hasn't been on this show.
HelloFresh makes it really, really, really easy to make sure that you're maintaining and eating real food as opposed to just reaching into the cupboard and grabbing whatever you can on the go. And it's terrific. And again, if you don't have the time to shop and to do all of the prep work, HelloFresh is the way to go. Go to HelloFresh.com/CLNS50. That's HelloFresh.com/CLNS50. Use the code CLNS50, 50% off plus free shipping. It's a really good deal. Once again, America's #1 meal kit.